Hello students, this is our third lecture in the chapter lipid analysis. Today we'll see about the solvent extraction methods. We have already discussed about the various solvent extraction method, that is continuous solvent extraction, semi-continuous solvent extraction and discontinuous solvent extraction. And accordingly we have seen about the various methods such as goldfish method, Soxhlet method, etc. Now in this lecture we will discuss about the total fat by GC for nutritional labeling purpose. Okay, so in that we have see what about the principle, what is the principle about analysis of lipid by GC, then what are the sample preparation methods, then what are the chromatographic conditions, how we have to apply the chromatographic condition to the same, and how we have to calculate the data, that means the percentage of the given sample by using the GC. And in the next we will discuss about the non-solvent wet extraction methods by using the Babcock method for the analysis of milk fat. So we will see one by one. So the first one is the analysis of fat by GC. So in that, fat and fatty acid are extracted from food by hydrolytic method. So first of all, what is meant by hydrolytic methods? So hydrolytic methods are nothing but we have to perform the alkaline hydrolysis or acidic hydrolysis, means what we have to add water into it at acidic or alkaline condition, and in this way the acid get hydrolyzed and they will forms its esters. Okay, so generally for the most of the compounds the acidic and alkaline hydrolysis are performed, but in case of dairy products we will require acidic as well as alkaline hydrolysis treatment for the estimation. So the pyrogallic acid is added to minimize the oxidative degradation of fatty acid during the analysis. The triglyceride, that is triandecanoin, is added as an internal standard in the analysis. Fat is extracted into ether and then methylated to the fatty acid methyl ester, generally named as a FEMS, using Lewis acid BF3 in methanol. Fatty acid methyl esters are quantitatively measured by capillary gas chromatography against internal standard, that is triandecanoin internal standard. Total fat is calculated as a sum of individual fatty acids expressed in triglyceride equivalents. Saturated and monosaturated fats are calculated as a sum of respective fatty acids. Monosaturated fatty acid includes only cis forms, while the trans fat can be quantitated using this method in conjunction with the identification criteria established by American Association of Oil Chemists. Then what about the standard sample preparation procedure? So samples are generally methylated by either standard or alternative method to form a FEM, that is fatty acid methyl ester, prior to the GC analysis. There are two different methods, but here we will discuss only one method. Okay, so for procedure for the standard sample preparation. So first of all, for a oil sample means what, the sample is 100% liquid. In that we will use the Soxhlet method for the extraction. So for that purpose you accurately weigh a portion of lipid, usually 0.15 to 0.2 gram, into 125 ml or 50 ml of the round bottom flask containing internal standard, that is trans-decanoin. For low lipid amounts, the lipid may be transferred into the flask using hexane, and the weight of the lipid is then the difference in the weight of the empty flask and the weight of the flask after hexane is evaporated on the steam bath under gentle steam of the nitrogen. Then into that we have add 4 to 5 ml of 0.5 normal sodium hydroxide in methanol, and then add few boiling chips into it. Then we have to attach the water condenser to it and reflux it for 15 minutes in the steam bath. Then into that we have add Lewis acid catalyst, that is boron trifluoride and methanol through the top of the condenser. Then we have to reflux the content for 5 minutes. After that we have to add appropriate amount of the heptane, and it is about 7 to 10 ml. Then again we have to reflux the given solution for 1 minute. Then raise the round bottom flask still attached to the condenser above and steam bath, and let it cool for 15 minutes. We have to remove the round bottom flask from the steam bath, and we have to cool it for 15 minutes and then disconnect the condenser. After that we have to add 2 to 3 ml of saturated sodium chloride solution to the flask and stopper the flask. Here we have to add a sodium chloride into the flask. This is because whenever we have adding the saturated solution of sodium chloride, that is brine solution, then there is a proper separation of the particular lipid into the solution. Then let stand until it reaches to the room temperature. So almost 15 minutes we have to keep it. After that we have to add again saturated sodium chloride solution, so that heptane layer will float in the neck of the flask. Means what? The sodium chloride is a highly dense material and is water containing, that's why it is settled at the bottom, while the heptane layer which containing our sample is float in the neck of the flask. Okay, then place a small scoop of the sodium sulfate into the vial, and then transfer the heptane layer containing the methyl ester into the vial and place the screw cap on the vial. And we have to keep that sample up to 2 weeks, and which is stable. Okay, then inject the appropriate amount of the heptane into the GC system. In this way we have to prepare the sample for the GC for the lipid analysis. Now, what are the chromatographic conditions? What are the chromatographic conditions which have been applied for the analysis? So, for the chromatographic conditions, we need various kinds of parameters such as the column temperature, then injection detector, then detector temperature. So, first we will see one by one. So, first one is the column. Okay, so in that we will have the column having internal diameter of 0.25 mm, having length of 100 meter, and having thickness of 0.20 micrometer, and it is 100% bis cyclopropanol, which is non-bonded capillary column. For example, sp2560, hp88, cpcl88, etc. Then the most important, what about the column temperature? So generally in this analysis we have to keep the temperature of about column temperature about 170 degrees Celsius, which is hold for the 11.10 minutes. After that we have to increase the temperature by the rate of 7.9 degrees Celsius per minute to 200, means what, 170 to 200 by the rate of 7.9 degrees Celsius per minute, and at that point we have to keep or hold the temperature for 1.27 minutes. After that again we have to increase the temperature by the same rate to 210 degrees Celsius, and we have to stay or hold the temperature for the 16 minutes. Then what about the injection port temperature? The injection port temperature should be 250, then detector temperature should be 300 degree Celsius. Then carrier gas. Here we have used H2 as a carrier gas. Then we have a split ratio. Split ratio is 100:1. Okay. Then hydrogen gas flow, it is 30 ml per minute. Air flow, that is vacuum, it is of 300 ml per minute. Then makeup gas flow, it is of 30 ml per minute. This and again the alternative method for the chromatographic condition, alternative chromatographic conditions are column having 0.25 mm internal diameter, 100 meter length and 0.20 micrometer film thickness and 100% cyanopropanol capillary column. For example, 2560, SP2560, HP88, CPCL 88, etc. Then column temperature should be 170 degrees Celsius, which is lasted for 5 minutes. After that, we have to increase the temperature by 2 degrees Celsius per minute from 170 to 190 degrees Celsius and hold for 5 minutes. After that, we have to increase the temperature by 10 degrees Celsius per minute to 210 degrees Celsius and hold up to 5 minutes. Again we have to increase the temperature by 10 degrees Celsius per minute and lasted for up to 230 degrees Celsius and lasted for 9 minutes. Then how we have to calculate the percentage, or we can say how we have to quantify the lipid by using the GC. So for that purpose we have to run the calculations which can be made by the peak height or integrated area. So the fatty acids may be calculated as a triglyceride, methyl esters, ethyl esters or acids and use a current validated computer software which have been provided. Then how we have to calculate? So percent fatty acid on lipid basis is calculated by milligram of the fatty acid divided by the milligram of the sample to be taken into 100, or the fatty acid on the sample basis is calculated as a milligram of the fatty acid into mg of the fatty acid into percentage of the lipid. Then alternate calculations. So for the perfect and absolute accurate calculations, we have certain alternate calculations which can be made by using peak areas obtained from the current validated computer software. So for that purpose, we have to first calculate the response factor, and the response factor is calculated by each standard. For the each standard is divided by the peak area of the internal standard. So that is the response factor. Then standard factor is calculated by dividing the response factor by the internal standard concentration and measure the peak area of each respective fatty acid and the internal standard, and then calculate the sample response factor by dividing the sample fatty acid peak area by the internal standard peak area. So percent fatty acid is equals to sample response factor divided by standard factor into final sample volume divided by the sample weight in mg into 100, where SRF is the sample response factor and F is the standard factor. Now the next is a non-solvent based extraction method. So in the non-solvent extraction method, we have to directly get the sample, and here we doesn't need any kind of traditional ways. That is, we have to extract the sample and then further we have to analyze that. So here we have used the Babcock method for the milk fat analysis. So in the Babcock method, principle is that in the Babcock method, sulfuric acid is added to the known amount of milk in the Babcock bottle, which is shown in the figure. The sulfuric acid digests the proteins and generate heat, which releases the fats. Okay, and then centrifugation and addition of hot water isolates the fat for quantification in the graduated portion of the test bottle, and the fat is measured volumetrically, but the result is expressed in percentage of fat by weight. So this is the particular Babcock bottle which shows the markings, which have a graduated marking over the neck of the graduated Babcock bottle. Now the next one is the procedure. So for that purpose, for the analysis of milk fat, we have to accurately pipette out about 17.6 ml of the milk sample into the Babcock bottle. Then we have to add reagent grade sulfuric acid which is of 17.5 ml to the bottle and allowing the acid to flow gently down the neck of the bottle as it is being slowly rotated. Then centrifuge the mixture for 5 minutes and liquid fat will rise into the calibrated bottle neck. The centrifuge must be kept at 55 to 60 degrees Celsius during centrifugation. Okay, and after that add hot water to bring the liquid fat up into the graduated neck of the Babcock bottle. So the direct percentage of the fat by weight is read to the nearest of 0.05% from the graduation mark of the bottle. Okay, then what are the applications of Babcock method? So Babcock method, which is very common and official method for the determination of fat in the milk, uh, and which takes about around 45 minutes, and duplicate test should gives within a agreement of 0.1%. The Babcock method does not determine the phospholipids in the milk products, and it is applicable to the products containing chocolates or added sugar without modification because the chairing of chocolate and sugars by the sulfuric acid. A modified Babcock method is used to determine the essential oil in the flavor extract by AOAC method and fat in the seafood also. So these are the applications of Babcock method which is used for the estimation of milk fat. So this is all about the lecture. In the next lecture we have discussed about the next method, that is a Gerber methods for the analysis of fat by non-solvent weight extraction method. Thank you.